Ask away.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon for the Brazilians. I mean, there's not many. There's just two Brazilians today. Oh, yes, Julian and Claudia, they are also in the other part of the world. So I think for them it's also good afternoon. But for me, Kia, Richard, and Dora is really good evening. Oh, Aura as well in Portugal. Anyhow, tonight I have Kia, Kiara, for the people who don't know her, but we can all call her Kia. That's
Yeah, it's fine. Like the car.
That's how she goes by for friends. We don't know each other that long. I think 2 or 3 years. She works in a
Well,
cultural center here nearby my house, and I love to go to cultural concerts. I go to theater. I love that, and I take the girls with me. Sometimes we go as a family, and she works in such a place, beautiful. So she also has a chance to check most of the events that happens at the place that she works, and that's how we got in touch. She's also married to a Latino, so she understands a little bit of the culture and she knows a little bit of Brazil as well. So yeah, that's how we became friends. And I had to invite her to participate because I know that she also loves culture and languages. I think I said a lot. So, Kia, please give us a little introduction about yourself and then we can start with a round of questions. Welcome here for the second time
thank you.
because she
Yeah,
already had a session with her husband.
correct. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Talking about
where will I start? So I'm Kia. I studied for to be a teacher. I was a teacher for about 4 years. Um, but in Belgium, it's really hard to find a job, a teaching job, and to keep it. So when I didn't find, so when I couldn't stay at a school, I decided to leave the country. And then I went to work and travel in New Zealand for a year or half year, and then I went traveling into Asia. So that's more the places I've been to, Asia. I've also been to Africa, and now I just came back from a trip from South America. So I have a bit of the world cultures now. Uh, Now I came back and I decided not to be a teacher anymore and to go into the cultural sector, like Simone said. And I like it a lot because I can go to concerts or theaters for free now, and I enjoy it a lot. Yeah.
All right, that was good. That was good.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's lots of people with questions already. Would you guys, yeah, would go ahead and ask her, or should I go ahead and ask a question myself? You just have to raise your hands and then we just go from there, right? Um, no one? All right, Julian, go ahead.
Uh, Yeah, for some reason I can't raise my hand on the Zoom, which is very weird.
Ah,
I'm curious because I know a lot of places have like teacher shortages. So what makes teaching in Belgium so different? Like what about it makes it so difficult?
well, I think the situation now changed completely, like completely after Corona, of course. I did go back to teaching for a few months, I think just before Corona. And then you had to teach with Zoom, of course, and with Teams. And I didn't know anything about it. And they forced us to just learn it as quickly as you can and then teach the children from a distance, which was so hard. Teaching already is very hard if you're starting, so it was so much pressure on me that I decided not to go further with it. Also, in Belgium, the whole education system is being reviewed. There are a lot of changes um, in yeah. what would I say, in how you have to teach, in what they expect you to show the kids, the curriculum, and it's just too much. I will wait a bit, maybe later in life when everything is more settled down, I think I might teach again, but not now. It's a chaos. Yeah. So yeah. They might ask for teachers, but I won't be it anymore.
All right, Renato.
And taking advantage of the question of Julian, do you think that many teachers or the teachers are feeling a big difference between the teaching process 10 years ago, for example, and now?
Yes. So I got schooled in a frontal education system. So the teacher in front and the students just listening. But now they expect you to make it more yeah, inclusive, that the input comes more from the students and not from the teacher. But it's hard if you always, even in university, it's very frontal and just listen and do it all yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for, I think if the younger generation now will be able to yeah, to get that new system down, like
Yeah.
study from your own and group study and yeah, tutoring. I think that's a better way of studying, or maybe some of both might be the best. Yeah.
And you think that the behavior of the students in the class changed too much?
Yes, absolutely. Because a lot of rules that force discipline were abolished. So that means, for example, when the students come into class, I force them, or that's a rule, to stand up behind their desks, and they can only sit down if everyone is quiet. It's a very simple rule, but it makes the class really calm, and you can start with your lessons calmly. But students will think like, oh, why are you forcing me this? It's like you're
Come on.
the bully, and yeah, they are
Yeah.
quick in saying that you cannot put rules.
No, I think that's you.
Yeah.
It's really hard to stand that. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
That
They
here in Brazil
are
is the
very
same. Yeah,
talkative. They're very direct also.
yeah,
It's getting harder, yeah.
yeah. Sorry, what country did you visit in your last trip to South America? Is your
Uruguay, it's the country of my husband.
okay,
So,
yeah,
and it
good
was
place.
my first time seeing it, so I'm very happy to see where he grew up.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place. I've been there in with
Beautiful.
my motorcycle and 3 years
Really?
ago. Yeah. It's an
Yeah, I
amazing
think
place.
it's nice. I saw a
The
lot of
beach.
motorcycle travelers.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you visit a beach called Punta Gorda? Did you
Ah,
visit
not
this
yet.
place in
I
Montevideo?
wasn't
Yeah.
there long enough, but I think there are very beautiful coastal cities. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Okay, thanks.
All right, Richard.
Richard.
Good evening, Kia. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Thanks.
Um, my question is going back to your childhood and where you grew up in Italy, and the second one is what led you to the career path then teaching and to now. So I'm interested to know where you grew up and how you grew up and
So at my grandparents' house, the television was always on, the Rai Uno and Rai Due. So I heard Italian constantly, and it made me pick up words a lot faster. and it made me go into the direction of Latin classes. Here, the Latin course is estimated as higher education, like for more intelligent students. I'm not that smart, but I really wanted to learn the language. The language and the culture inspired me a lot, the Roman culture and the Latin language. It was really hard work, but I got through it. And then I traveled to Rome when I was 18. And the whole history and the tour guides who explained to me made me, yeah, it inspired me to tell these things to other people. And then actually I did not choose for Roman languages. This is a funny thing about me. I think I had heard so much Roman languages. We have French in school as well for I think 7 or 8 years of French. It's too much. And then Italian on top of it, Latin on top of it. And then I chose for German, to study German in university. Yeah.
Wow. Did you know that?
Yeah, it was not hard. It was a bit hard, but eventually turned out well. But the thing is, so German is also an obligated course in Belgium or in Flanders, not in Wallonia. But nowadays they're making it an extra course, so you can whether choose whether between Spanish or German, and of course everyone is choosing for Spanish. So I don't think I will have a lot of chances to find a job if I want to go back to teaching. So yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying, Kia, because you're married to an Uruguayan, so I mean you are in touch with the Spanish language. Why wouldn't you be able to teach, let's say, children Spanish in a school, for instance?
So I
You
had
have
to
the
talk
diploma, right? You have the degree of as a teacher, and you have
as
Spanish. So why don't you think that would be
my
possible?
Spanish. I realized now, being in Uruguay and having to speak it every day, I realized that my Spanish is not good.
It is, because I've heard it, and Fabian already told me, come on, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, it was really, really hard
Just
because
give me a
I
second.
wanted.
Kia, give me a second. Claudia, are you there? Can you hear us? Por favor, dice algo a Kia. Claudia es colombiana. Ale, vamos. Right on spot. Claudia, we can't hear you. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's not working.
Yeah.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. It doesn't have to be long. Just
No,
let's
que,
put
que,
Kia on the
mira,
spot.
tía, me alegra mucho que hayas visitado Uruguay, el país de tu esposo, y hayas podido ver en dónde creció y cómo fue la infancia, porque eso es muy importante cuando hay matrimonios de diferentes culturas.
I'm sure Kia understood everything.
I
So
understood
your Spanish
everything,
is good, girl. Don't be so
but
hard on
to
yourself.
speak it, it's something different because
Come
I want to
on.
say everything correct. And the hard part about being a multilingual linguist is that I know the word in French and the word pops up in French, for example, and I cannot come up with the Spanish word for it, or the
Just need some
German.
time. It's gonna be fine.
Uh,
Okay,
really hard.
guys. Thank you, Claudia. Aura, you have a question, right?
Yes, I wanted to. Hello, by the way. I wanted to find out since you like have so much information on the schooling system in Belgium, when you have your own children or if you have kids already, like, will you be sending them to normal school or do you think with your experience you can homeschool them or like what will you be doing with your kids?
I would love to homeschool, but it's very difficult to get, I think, to get everything what I need. Also, I could not teach all subjects. That I think that's what's keeping me from homeschooling. And I think it will be very hard to find the right school because I have high standards in terms of how much you have to learn of or yeah, what degree you end up with. But the problem is that Fabian thinks it doesn't matter at all. My husband, yeah. He says they have to choose uh, for what makes them happy. And if it is something, if they want to work with their hands, they can do that. Or if they want to go work, they can do that. But I think having a degree is very important. So yeah, it's gonna be a difficult one, I think, in the future.
I understand.
Did you tell Aria how old your children are? Because I didn't get that.
How old they are now? My oldest is now 4, and the youngest is only 8 months. So I will
So you
be,
see that's what she means. It's still gonna take some time for them to figure it
yeah.
out because they have 2 children and she's a busy mom and she's making time for us guys. That's really, really, really cool. All right, Ademilson, you have a question.
Hello, guys. How are you? So,
Hey.
Kia, I had to leave, but I don't know if you said how many languages do you speak?
Oh, let me think. Nederlands, Engels, Spaans. I think about 5. Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah.
When did you start learning English and why?
I think around 14 we get English in school. But I learned a lot of my English from watching movies and series. I used to find, these pirate websites and then just take the series in the original
Oh, yeah.
version. Yeah,
Like me, you
that's
learned by yourself.
I learned it by
Oh,
myself. Yeah.
congratulations. And another question is about the language and culture in Belgium. There is two regions, Flanders and Wallonia. Could you
Yeah.
explain to us what kind of are the difference between these two regions and in Belgium?
Yes. So I think historically, it is divided a bit. The one part belonged more under France rule, and uh, the upper part more to the northern Netherlands. So that's in culture and in language, was already a difference, and it stayed. Then around the industrialization, Wallonia actually made a whole turnaround. So they went from farming to industry, and that part of Belgium was not Belgium yet. Was very wealthy, and that was the main part of economics. But then it quickly changed because Flanders picked it up as well centuries later. And then Flanders became the middle point, like the port of Antwerp and the coast were very important cities, I think. And Wallonia never got the chance to keep up with modernization. And it actually went the other way. So they went back to more farming. And in Flanders, we went more to industry and later mining as well. So that's where I'm from. It's a mining city, very interesting also. So I think now Flanders is doing better economically, and Wallonia is more laid back. They don't think money is that important. So people have also a very southern culture, like very open, very warm. I really like Wallonians.
The language are different.
They
Um,
speak
Kia,
French
Kia,
there.
I think it's important to say that it's a country, but they're really separated. So can you tell more about that? Because is it still not clear for the rest? I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, but can you be like more to the point so that they understand that it's one country, but two completely different cultures and languages as well?
Yeah, language, and culture as well. I try to explain it in Uruguay as well, but Belgium is really complex. So it doesn't have two parts, it has three parts because there's a little bit of Belgium where they speak German and they have their little own culture as well, but I don't know it that well. And then you have Wallonia. It's
South.
also in the area itself is different, like much more green, forests, hills, and Flanders is more flat, more cities, big cities and buildings. And I like Wallonia,
The
that it's
major
more.
cities are situated in Flanders, the major cities in Belgium.
Yes, yes. You have a few beautiful bigger cities in Wallonia, but they're not so known, I think. Yeah.
Simon told me about your city, but I cannot read it. It's Maasmechelen.
Maasmechelen. Yeah.
Maasmechelen. Oh, let's see
Yeah.
your city. It's a small city. How many people here in this city here?
I actually don't have an idea because I cannot remember numbers. I'm not good with
I think
numbers.
it's 250, 300,000. Because in Larnaca we are with 150 at the moment.
Yeah.
Denise, you can also show like how far we live from each other. I'm gonna put it on the chat.
And the nice
Let
thing
me.
about my village is that even though we are in Flanders, so less green, we have the biggest national park here, so it feels really green here.
Let me find the name of your city.
There, yeah.
Show direction from here. Then make it.
How did you say it? That's so funny, Kia. When my mother was here, she was just like, "Oh, you live in Lanaken, Lanaken."
Lanaken.
That's Brazilian pronunciation.
It's
Here in Belgium, we say Naken. So we
Lanaken.
start with hi, Lanaken.
Mm.
In Brazilian
Lanaken.
Portuguese, we say Lanaken.
Lanaken.
You see,
But
Oh,
now
also Maasmechelen is really hard to pronounce there.
yeah, that's very
They said
difficult
so
for
something
them.
like Maasmechelen.
so so
Masmechelen?
so close the cities. Just 10 kilometers. You can go walking
Yeah, we are not far from each other.
or running. Let's see the distance from Brussels.
About an hour, I think, by car.
Let me remove. Yeah, one and a
Like
half
1
hour.
hour.
Oh,
Mhm.
so then
Um,
do you live in the Flanders region?
Yes, that's Flanders region, but I live in the border of the Netherlands and Germany. So I have all cultures close by. I love
Yeah,
it.
yes, I was going to ask Adenilson to zoom out so we can see, can we see like how Belgium is divided? So the south is Wallonia, as Kia was just saying, and
let
the
me.
north is
let me-
Flanders, Flemish language, which is very similar to Dutch from the Netherlands. So you can see that we are where we live, both of us, we are really in the border. You go to the east, we are in Germany already. You can see all the big cities like Cologne, Düsseldorf, Bonn. It's 1 hour driving from us, exactly the same as driving to Brussels, going to the west. So you see, we are just 1 hour away. If we go east, we go to Germany. If we go west, 1 hour, we go to Brussels. If we go half an hour south, we go to Liège. Can you see that?
Yeah,
Adenilson,
Liège.
can you go a
Yeah,
little bit south? So you see Liège is like half an hour from us. And if you go up to the Netherlands, north, it's like one city for me is 10 minutes. How far is Maastricht, Kia? 15 minutes as well for you?
Uh, yeah, 15 minutes. About, yeah.
So that's what Kia was saying. Go up. In half an hour, we are in another country. We go to the west. We are really in the heart of Belgium, in Brussels. And then if you go east, we go to Germany, and south, we go to Wallonia, where they speak French and the culture is more French. We go a little bit south, we go to Luxembourg, and then we are already in France. It's like 4 hours driving to Paris from here, so it's
far
not
out.
that far.
Yeah,
And then we are already in France.
really
Yeah.
well located.
Yes, we are really in the, yeah, we can say in the heart of Europe, but maybe it's true because Brussels is known for that, right? That's why
Yeah.
Brussels is so important because you see London is also not that far. When
Mm.
you go west, we are already in London as well. So it's a very well located cities where we live. I mean, if we can call them cities, Kia. It's very
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kia, for your answer.
Yeah.
All right. Dora, are you getting ready for a question? Or would you like to wait a little bit?
No, no, no. um, I was giving questions before, but you traveled a lot, and which culture, of course, is Italian culture, probably is very close to you, and a Belgian or a Flemish. But which culture did you like the best? Which was what you really, really loved it? Because I thought this New Zealand is a quite interesting place to go, and the people there is quite interesting how they live and how they think. What do you think about it?
True. I think New Zealand is more is about the same as Europe, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
because it has a lot of English, uh, of the English there.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you almost forget that there is a, how you say it, the the people from there, the Maori people,
Mm-hmm.
they live there too, and their culture is a bit pushed away by the more European way of living. I think their culture is very beautiful as well. Um, but yeah, I think every culture has a bit their uh how you say that, their downsides, but their good sides as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like Asian culture because they're so friendly and considerate, but they are too uh, sometimes too, how would I say that? Not daring enough or too friendly, maybe. And I would also, I could live in Uruguay in South America. I love being with people, but they they are always with people, like they
No
visit each
privacy,
other
no
all the
privacy.
time. So I don't know if I could handle that because also Belgians are very reserved. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe New Zealand was for me the best. Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you.
Right. I think she answered your question, Dora.
Yes,
Renato,
thank
back
you.
to you. Richard had also a question, but we're going to go to Renato and then back to Richard. Okay.
Okay. And I think that made me impressed you. It was the average temperature in Belgium in general. People say that the average temperature is 10 degrees. I think that I don't know if I'm more impressive for you or because Simone, because I don't know how can a Brazilian person stand that level of temperature. Because when you have 10 degrees here or to 11 degrees here in my place, we're
That's
in a
crazy.
really cold winter, okay? So I can't imagine living in a place like that. And the only experience that I had in terms of this level of temperature was in Canada, and I didn't get to stand that level of temperature. How do you get to live? You have to use coat all the year long.
I actually I'm really bad with coats. I don't really have a coat laying around now. In winter I do, but now I don't use coats. Um, I think you get used to it because when I was in Montevideo, everyone was wearing a sweater. It was 18 degrees. And I said, let's go outside in the sun. It's beautiful weather. And they were like, no, it's cold. So I think it's a matter of what you're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's. And uh, I don't know. I think it has its charm because when it snows, you just put on your thicker coats or thicker boots and you just go into the snow. And then you come back in and you drink a warm cocoa, like chocolate milk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
its, but we're very happy when winter ends, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that this question should be addressed to Simone because I didn't get to understand how she got to adapt to this level of temperature in Belgium. Okay.
Uh, no,
Yeah, are you
Renato,
cold,
actually,
Simone?
no, but what Kia was saying is true. Like when you're born here, you don't know better. Your body is used to it. I think that the biggest difference here in Europe or in Canada, because I also used to live in Canada in Toronto, I think that the thing is the houses, the infrastructure is really built for the temperature. So the houses, they are very good isolated, so you don't feel cold at all. Sometimes if you would stay a couple of days at home, you wouldn't even notice that it's winter or cold outside because it's really warm and comfortable. When you have the right clothes to wear, you go outside, as Kia was saying, you go skiing or you go for a walk in the snow, you have the right boots and the right coats, and you don't feel it really. Okay, maybe a little bit in your face, but it's just also something that you're not going to stay long outside in the winter. Like they say, the bears, they go hibernated. And it's true, like most of people, they don't go outside. They just go outside when they need to. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
So
can imagine. Yeah.
they're inside most of the time. And the reason why Kia just said that we cannot wait until winter is over is because we want to get out. We want to do stuff instead of just sitting
True.
in front of the TV, eating bad stuff. But it's true. And also here in Belgium, we have lots of rains. It rains a lot. And that's also something that is really difficult for us
Yeah.
because you'll have to get used to it, but it's a hassle to not be able to do much because it's in the winter. It's starting from now, I think October is until April, it's lots of rains. And it's not easy. Like in comparison with Brazil, the sunshine all the time and the good temperature. It is not easy, Renata, I can tell you. But yeah, but that's how it is. You cannot have everything in life, right?
Yeah, yeah, can imagine.
Let's go back to Richard because Richard had a question and then we go to Julian. What was your
Yeah,
question?
thanks. Renata, I'm with you. I'll move to Brazil any day. I can't stand the cold. I lived in Hungary and I wanted to get back home very quickly during the winter. Kia, I'm interested to know about your cultural studies or your cultural side, transitioning from teaching into cultural side. What does it entail, and is it all cultures that you're involved with, or specifying in one particular culture?
My studies, I just studied languages and then I just found a job for in the cultural sector. So I didn't do anything more.
Oh,
And
yeah,
what does it
I
what does
think
it
it's not
entail?
clear sorry, Richard,
Yeah,
to interrupt. I think it's not clear for Richard what her job actually is. So,
yeah.
Richard, she works in a cultural center. You know what I mean?
Like
So,
a
Yeah.
like a theater more.
Oh, okay. Now I
yeah.
understand. Now I'm
You
with you.
get it?
Yeah.
She works in the center, so that's where all the events happen. They take place there. So she receives the visitors. So she's not moving around and the country or traveling to different countries to teach or to get to know cultures. She's at
No.
a specific place receiving visitors.
No, 100%. No, I understand. No, thanks.
Yeah. All
Is
right.
that enough for you, Richard? Or oh, okay, all right. Jillian.
So I just wanted to come back to the languages thing because I'm curious if you ever heard of or ever tried to learn Esperanto. Because
Oh
so
yeah.
if people don't know what Esperanto is, it is an attempt to create a universal European language that, in my opinion, is terrible because every time I tried to learn it, because basically what they did is long story short, they grabbed words, tenses, and conjugations from various European languages, well, in theory, all European languages, and then weaved them together to attempt to make, you know, a universal one. And so the problem with that is that words that you speak appear alongside words that are not in your language. So for me, the problem was every time I would see a word in, French, Portuguese, Spanish, or whatever, I would immediately switch to that instead of staying on to Esperanto. So I'm curious about what your experience was with that.
Yes. Yeah, I have studied Esperanto for a little bit, but I didn't find yeah, I think I can put my time more in studying Spanish and French apart and then use that language. Because what you do when you speak so many languages is to just say it in if I don't know it in Spanish, I would just say it in French and they will understand me as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just do that instead of speaking Esperanto.
And just about like, so I remember you said you did a bit of German. What do you think of the German grammar?
Oh, I love it. I love that it's so
Oh, she's
complex.
crazy. I think she's crazy.
Yeah, my students used to say that, but I love it. Um, I don't know.
Such a
We also,
difficult
because
language.
in Latin you have the I think it's called conjugations, and then in German you have that as well. So it wasn't that hard for me to learn them because there are more in Latin than there are in German. In Polish, there are about 14 because I think German has only 5 or so. But Polish has 14, so I feel the urge to learn Polish now.
Wow. I think Hungarian is also a very difficult
Also,
language.
but Hungarian is
Yeah.
a language apart, I think. It's
Yeah.
completely different.
I
Even the
think I can,
writing.
Gillian, ask a question about Hungarian to Dora, because her language is also crazy difficult.
I've never actually looked into Hungarian, so I wouldn't know what to ask. But is it because I know so you were saying that like I think what you're talking about is the cases. Because I think that the conjugations are what you do to the word. I'm not entirely sure, I'm not a linguist, but I think and then the cases are sort of like you have your, imperative case and some other ones.
Mhm.
How do you get 14?
That's what I what I don't understand
Crazy.
about the language. But yeah. But
Oh,
the
Hungarian's the third most difficult language in the world.
Is it
I
really?
think
Yeah.
so.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Because
The
it
It's
first.
third.
doesn't, it's not so how you say that? It doesn't look like any other language. It's a language on its own.
Exactly.
So
That's what I wanted to say. It's nothing else which is similar, or a little bit similar. We have similar words with Turkish or Polish because we kind of live together. But anyway, but otherwise, it's nothing common at all. Yeah.
Wow.
that's
What's the
interesting.
Oh,
what's the
I
Turkey.
most
can't
difficult
wait for
language in the
Dora's
world?
session. She's gonna
We
tell
are
us
we are
all about
aliens.
it. In a couple of weeks, guys, just a couple of weeks, and then we're gonna know everything about Hungary. All right, Claudia, welcome back. You had some difficulties and you got kicked out, but you're back. Would you
Now
like to
back.
ask Kia a question? It's the first time here, guys. Welcome, Claudia.
Oh, welcome.
Thank you, guys. From living in Europe and being, I mean, I've been visiting Europe before, but I really like the fact that you can go to one country from the next, like at a driving distance. That's very good. And also because you have the chance to like see different places, different cultures in such a small place. But how is is also the food different? Because a lot of the ingredients probably the same, but is it like different preparation, different, I don't know, like is it like so much different as much as the languages, or is kind of similar?
Great
Yes, if you go
question.
to the supermarket, I think a lot of it is the same, but a lot also differs. Like they have products, they sell products that we don't have in Belgium. In the Netherlands, for example, they have more how do you call it, hagelslag, more varieties, while in Belgium we just have one or two.
Okay,
And
okay, just wait. Adenilso, can you please share this screen with us?
hagelslag. And how is it called?
Okay, we're just gonna put some pictures
Yeah.
so they can understand what you're saying.
Can can you write it?
Yes, I
Hagel.
already did.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, so that's what Kia is talking about. There's something that's very Dutch. It's not that Belgium. And when you go to a Dutch supermarket, you're gonna find like 50 options for this.
Mm.
And in Belgium, maybe you have 3 options.
Is this
Uh,
sweet?
yes, that's
Yes,
chocolate.
it's
It's just
chocolate,
chocolate.
yeah.
Oh, it's chocolate. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Then we have pindacas. There is also
Oh,
something that I've noticed that when I lived in Brazil, it didn't exist, but now you can find it everywhere. But it's expensive. Do you have that in Colombia, Claudia?
is that peanut butter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
peanut
Yes,
butter.
Yeah. And nowadays you can find it, but when I was little, no, you didn't really have that when you
exactly.
were little.
In
Yeah.
Brazil, it's pretty much the same. It didn't
I
Yeah.
mean, you eat
exist
the
when I was
peanuts,
young.
but you never made a butter.
Correct.
Exactly, yeah. We didn't have it either, and I can't really eat it now. I don't like it at all.
I
I am the
learned how
same
to eat
way.
it.
I mean, if it's with like chocolate and it's some type of dessert is fine, but having it on its own, I don't I don't really enjoy that.
Adenise, can you go back to the fla?
Yeah.
VLA. There's also something that is different, quite different in the two countries, even if they're very close by. Okay, just like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some sort of pudding. I
yeah.
don't.
You go to the right, Campina there. To the right. Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because he's Googling from Brazil, so he doesn't get that much options. But anyhow, there's also something that is very Dutch. And if you go to a supermarket here in Belgium, you're not gonna find it.
No. And also, what is German that you cannot find here is currywurst, like a sausage,
Yeah.
sort of.
Let me
They
write it
have
down.
more meat, I think, than we
Yeah,
do.
it tastes very different. That's true. Okay, so Denise is gonna also check that one.
Like kind of with onion, we don't do that.
Currywurst,
Also
like
in,
the
in
worst of
Belgium,
all, the worst of all,
The worst.
the worst of all the curries is this one,
The
the
worst. Yeah.
worst.
oh, that is a good comment.
But
Also,
it,
something like, can you see at the news, like when I first arrived in Belgium, I was used to eat lots of ketchup, but here they don't eat that at all. They eat mayonnaise with everything, and
Really?
it's very typical from
true.
Belgium. Mayonnaise
And,
everywhere.
and the
But
Dutch.
in
And the Dutch
Germany,
are exactly the same.
yes, and then in Germany they also don't do it because you're checking with the Germans and you don't see mayonnaise anywhere. You see, they eat ketchup, but in Belgium they don't. You see, so the three countries are very close by,
Yeah.
but they're very different.
How about
Yeah.
sausage? You see some sausages here. It's common for you to
Mm.
eat sausages.
Only in barbecues or so.
But it's also like the way Brazilians know sausage is very different from here, and it tastes complete. It's something completely different. It doesn't taste as in Brazil. Like we call sausage. Here we don't call that at all. We call worst, as you can see, W WORST. And yeah, it's just another, yeah, it's just different. As you can see,
Yeah.
it's not similar. Mm-mm. All right.
And the whole German experience isn't fully completed if you haven't eaten that sausage.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. All right, Aura, you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask if, with like all your experience, sorry, but with all your experience, would you move out of Belgium, or do you want to move somewhere else again, or do you enjoy where you are?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. I would totally move back to New Zealand, but only for a few years maybe, because being on an island really stayed in my head. Like you're on an island, you cannot just leave being with that experience that you can travel to another country in within minutes. New Zealand, it's just New Zealand. And if you want to go to another country, you have to take a plane. Also, you're surrounded by ocean. So I was thinking about tsunamis all the time. But if you don't think of that, I would totally move to New Zealand. Yeah. With the kids also.
I think that Aura, she wants to go to New Zealand now. I can see in her face, like she got so curious.
I do. I'm thinking about it. I am. Don't tell
I
people
could
though.
see that,
My parents
girl.
might get upset. And no, my parents might get upset. So let's just keep it between us.
All
Just
right.
do it. I always recommend just go.
Fidel, you're just here, but would like to ask a question. Kia is also Fidel. He lives in Belgium, but he's from Cameroon, so maybe he has a very good question.
Nice.
Ask her something that you always wonder about Belgium that nobody was able to answer. So Kia, she's gonna be the one because us foreigners living in Belgium, there's so many questions that we have no answer to. Okay, go ahead, Fidel. Put her on the spot. Let's go. The most difficult question about Belgium that you can have. Oh, we cannot hear you. Okay, okay. Try again. And Kia, get ready. Oh, okay. He's not realizing
Oh,
it.
okay, no.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now I
Okay,
all
can
right.
there
hear
you
you.
Can you
go.
hear me?
What
Yeah.
was the question? Nobody could hear you.
Okay. Question about Belgium that nobody's asked before. That's a difficult one, but let me think. Let me think. Why is it that a lot of Belgians do not travel abroad?
That's a good one.
That is a good one, yeah. We have this expression to live under the church tower, which means that there are little villages with the church. Now, it's not that we're so religious anymore, but staying with your parents and your grandparents, it's very important, and to live close to your friends. That's what is important for Belgians, I think. And to even to go to another city is difficult because it means a lot of changes, I believe. And whenever I tell them that I went to New Zealand, everyone is completely in shock, like, oh, that far. I'm like, it's fine, nothing will happen if you go out of your country. But I think, yeah, they're very maybe narrow thinking is not the correct word, but
I think it is.
yeah, sometimes. I think the very Flemish people who don't in where I live, it's different because we have a lot of migrants. But my mother is from East Flanders, and the people there are like the farmer people and living in their own villages. They're so racist, and they don't like anything that has not to do with Belgium. So yeah, I think that's the main reason.
Okay. Yeah, because I asked the question because I had a colleague before, a former colleague, and he was then 42 years old, but he had gone to Brussels once. So, and I live in Hasselt, and he never left Hasselt. He was living for 42 years at the same small village, and been to Brussels once, never been out of Belgium, and not interested at whatsoever. So
I think
um,
Belgians like to work, and with their money they put into their house and they stay in that house and they don't come
yeah,
out of their house.
yeah,
That's
that's
the
right.
thing, yeah. They won't, like, travel costs money, but they need the money, for example, to buy a bigger car or to invest in a nicer house.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really in that way of thinking, so that's the reason why I travel. And while
And
I
that you
was
didn't
traveling,
marry a Belgian, eh? That's also the reason why
I
you didn't
couldn't
end
marry a
up with a
Belgian.
Belgian.
I think while I was traveling, my friends were buying houses. So yeah, that's the difference, I think.
No, I think that it all boils down to choice. Is making what makes you happy. That's important.
Yeah.
Right, Fidel. I think Fidel asked a very good question. I hope that for everybody was clear, but definitely for us living in Belgium, it was really an amazing question because Kia, she answered as a true Belgian, even if she doesn't feel or react or behave as a true Flemish. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
she is a typical Belgian girl with an international mind, married to a Uruguayan. He's gonna be here, by the way, Saturday, talking to us about his home country. Of course, we could ask him questions about Belgium as well, but the main point is going to be to talk about Uruguay. The reason why I'm saying that, guys, is because we just ran out of time. The time flew by. I'm just so happy that you're able to do this for us, Kia. I mean, I know you're a busy mom. She has a baby, 8 months old, and her
Okay.
husband is amazing because he's with the baby now, so she could
Yeah.
spend time with us, guys. So once again, Kia, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your experience with us. Even Aura, I think she's booking a ticket right now to go to New Zealand. Dora, she's been traveling all over the world as me, working on a cruise ship, but I think she got also like she wants to travel, don't you, Dora? I think you're very inspiring. So as from tonight, I think everybody's gonna get that feeling to go somewhere and do something different with their lives. Anyhow, I would like to thank everyone, every single one of you for being here, and I hope to see you soon,
Yeah.
especially Saturday, all right?
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, and you all have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Kiara. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank
Thank
you.
you,
You were
guys.
all
Thanks
so
again.
nice people.
Have a
Thank
great,
you.
have a
Was
great
great.
week.
Okay.
Thank you.